Most perp exchanges have a collateral problem, not a technical one. Accepting multiple assets as collateral is solvable engineering. The problem is that every asset accepted as collateral introduces valuation risk the protocol has to manage. So the practical choice, for most protocols, has been to accept stablecoins, solve the valuation problem trivially, and tell traders to convert everything else before they trade. That's the status quo, and it's more costly than it looks. Today I want to talk about why, and about a different approach that LeverUp is building with AnyCollateral. Let me start with mechanics, then work up to the bigger picture. AnyCollateral allows traders to use MON, LVMON, and LVUSD as collateral alongside USDC. Each non-stablecoin asset carries what the protocol calls a collateral ratio, a discount applied to account for price volatility. If you deposit $100 worth of MON at a 70% collateral ratio, you have $70 of available margin. The collateral stays in its original form. The protocol manages the valuation risk. Now here's where it gets interesting. Think about what happens in a USDC-only system when a MON holder wants to trade. They sell MON for USDC, paying swap fees, potentially taking slippage, and triggering a taxable event in many jurisdictions. They use USDC as collateral to open a position. They close the position. They buy back MON. At every step there's friction, and for the duration of the position, their MON exposure is interrupted. With AnyCollateral, MON or LVMON is locked as supported collateral, the position opens, and the trader retains economic exposure to the collateral throughout. When the position closes, settlement follows the applicable protocol rules. The conversion round trip disappears. Eligible LVMON, by the way, can also be staked for variable rewards, so the optionality extends further. You're not forced to choose between staking and trading in the same moment. This is the capital efficiency argument at its core. Assets stay in their most productive configuration, and the protocol absorbs the complexity of managing their valuation. That's not a convenience feature. It's a different theory of how capital should work. But the individual trader story is actually the smaller part of what I want to talk about. The more important question is what AnyCollateral does at the ecosystem level. Every supported Monad ecosystem token added to AnyCollateral becomes usable as margin, with traders retaining economic exposure to the collateral asset, subject to its own mechanics and the protocol's collateral rules. For Monad projects building token economies, this matters. A token that's usable as trading margin on LeverUp has a utility layer beyond speculation. It circulates. It stays productive. And for LeverUp, each new token integration extends the collateral layer's reach into the ecosystem. Think about where this goes as Monad matures. As the ecosystem develops real-world asset representations, tokenized T-bills, tokenized commodities, holders will want to use those assets without first selling them. AnyCollateral provides a framework for eligible assets to be reviewed and configured as margin under the protocol's collateral rules. The pattern is consistent. Assets stay productive, the protocol handles the complexity, and capital circulates rather than sitting idle as USDC waiting for the next trade. Now, I want to be direct about the risk layer here, because this is where a lot of coverage glosses over something important. Non-stablecoin collateral means a second source of price risk. If you're using MON as collateral for a BTC long, you have two independent variables moving against you simultaneously. BTC price moves affect your position P&L. MON price moves affect your collateral value. Both can shift your liquidation threshold, and they can do it at the same time in the same direction, for unrelated reasons. This isn't a reason to avoid AnyCollateral. It's a reason to understand what you're doing before you use it. USDC collateral isolates risk to the traded market. Multi-Collateral adds a correlated risk layer that requires active monitoring. The protocol manages this through collateral ratios, conservative enough to create a buffer between collateral value and margin requirement, but not so conservative that they eliminate the efficiency gain. And CR values can change as the protocol adjusts to market conditions. Check the interface at trade time, not just the documentation. So where is this going? AnyCollateral launched with 4 assets. The program is designed to grow. Monad ecosystem projects can apply, and new assets are reviewed based on on-chain liquidity and community traction. The direction is toward a collateral layer that covers the meaningful breadth of the Monad ecosystem. Not every asset belongs. Liquidity, price stability, and on-chain history are real constraints. The protocol isn't going to accept illiquid or freshly launched tokens as collateral that would import risk faster than the collateral ratio buffer could absorb it. But the assets that do meet those criteria are, right now, sitting idle in wallets when they could be working. That's the inefficiency AnyCollateral is built to close. And as more assets meet the bar, the collateral layer's reach expands, one integration at a time. I'll zoom out for a second to connect this to the broader architecture, because AnyCollateral doesn't exist in isolation. LeverUp settlement runs through a protocol-managed virtual liquidity architecture. Execution and settlement responsibility sits at the protocol layer rather than with external capital providers. Pricing is Oracle referenced. Risk is managed at the protocol layer. AnyCollateral is what happens when you apply that same logic to the capital side. The protocol doesn't ask traders to reshape their capital stack to fit a stablecoin requirement. It accepts the capital in its native form and manages the implications internally. It's a consistent design philosophy. Reduce friction at the boundary between what traders hold and what the protocol can work with. If that sounds like infrastructure thinking rather than product thinking, it is. And I think that's the right lens for understanding what LeverUp is building. For the mechanics of how to use AnyCollateral, how to deposit, how CR affects your available margin, how to monitor it, the How to Use AnyCollateral guide has everything you need. Link is in the show notes. And if you want the broader execution layer thesis, the LeverUp as financial execution layer article is the companion piece to this one. As always, this is not financial advice. Understand the protocol before you trade. I'll see you in the next one.